Welcome to Brave New Digital World, the podcast where we explore the future of marketing, mobile, and AI with some of the brightest minds in the industry. I'm Andy Carvel, co-founder of Feature, a full-stack mobile growth consultancy that helps D2C brands grow through data-driven experimentation. On this show, I sit down with thought leaders from across the ecosystem to unpack how the industry is evolving and what that means for the future of digital marketing. This is a very special first episode of the Brave New Digital World podcast. It was recorded live on stage at the App Promotion Summit in London. My guest is the awesome Ekim Dinc. Ekim is head of customer engagement at Amazon, driving discovery and engagement with Amazon's shopping, entertainment, and cloud services. That's a huge remit. Ekim's background is in supply chain and logistics, including supply chain roles at Amazon, and further back in his career at DHL and other logistics companies. This was a fascinating conversation and we covered a lot of ground. So let's dive into my conversation with Ekim Dinc. Today, here to introduce Ekim. Ekim, we're very happy to have you here. Thank you for coming, being a guest.
Likewise.
Ekim is kind of like a heavyweight in the industry, I would say, and also one of the people I've most enjoyed talking to, in my previous conversations with him. He's a true force in the digital world, I would say, like a background in supply chain and logistics, which we're going to dig into in a minute, because like not the classic background from, for folks now working on scaling and growth, but, he's like quietly reshaping how the biggest tech company on the planet, Amazon, engages with its customers. Welcome, Ekim.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Andy. Great to be here.
Thank you. And let's start with your background. Please tell the folks a little about what you do.
Hello and welcome everyone. Like Andy said, my name is Ekim Dinc. I'm leading customer engagement programs for Amazon retail business in EU, of which, of course, mobile growth plays a key role within that bucket. So my teams run lifecycle management programs, focus on customer engagement initiatives, incentives, mobile growth, mobile engagement campaigns, and all that stuff. So I'm based out of Luxembourg, and I've been working at Amazon for the last 6.5 years. Like Andy mentioned, I'm actually not a marketer. I'm not an app expert also. So my education and a professional background actually is in logistics and supply chain. And I made a very drastic career shift about 3 years ago and moved from Amazon supply chain business running European supply chain operations at Amazon and moved to our primary marketing organization at Amazon. And this is where my journey into marketing has started. It's a very interesting journey, full of learnings, of course, full of challenges, and some of which maybe we can discuss today with Andy and with you as well. And overall, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Let's dig into that a bit, sort of supply chain, logistics, scaling. How has that prepared you for this big switch to into marketing? How has that been?
To be very honest, it hasn't. So it's a bit of a leap of faith. But just to give you a little bit of background, so I work for different supply chain logistics companies like DHL, Civil Logistics, and lastly Amazon for 15 years. So what I did, my job was to understand end-to-end supply chain flows and build essentially supply chains for most of the brands that you know. I don't know, like probably some of the shampoos that you used or food that you buy from grocery stores. So essentially my job was to get them manufactured, have them delivered to your doorstep. So this is what I did for about 15 years. And of course, what it does, that it trains your brain to dissect like overall processes into components, look into them, understand the funnel and stay connected to details and solve problems individually and then put them together to build an overall customer journey. Essentially, I see a lot of similarities between what we do in marketing space at Amazon and what I used to do. So in that sense, there are a lot of similarities. But to answer your question, I don't think it has, like the whole thing has prepared me specifically into my journey. I'm still learning a lot. I, of course, rely on the teams where I lack knowledge, but thankfully I work with very talented individuals at Amazon. They help me a lot to make the right decision, to focus on the right things, and essentially keeping the main thing. I think that's the essential part.
And yeah, I guess that pattern recognition, being able to this sort of systems thinking kind of approach that I guess you've sort of really honed over that time in logistics and supply chain, brings like a really useful perspective when you're thinking about customer journeys and funnels and things like that. You can kind of really see it end to end.
Yeah, I think maybe to elaborate on this a little bit. When I say attention, I think attention to mechanism is something that probably I brought with me when I made the switch from a supply chain space into marketing. And what I mean by that is that you need to understand the actual customer need, and that is what you need to keep your attention, like laser focused attention on that space. And I think this is what we do in mobile growth. This is what we do in an overall marketing initiatives. This is what we do in other growth initiatives that we try to drive at Amazon. And I think that attention to detail is the common theme that I see that has helped me in my new role. Actually, speaking of attention, maybe one thing that I would like to share. If you haven't read it, there is a landmark Google paper called "Attention is All You Need." So all this AI hype actually started with that one single paper. It's an ode to the love all you need.
Love is all you need. The Beatles.
Love all you need by Beatles. Yeah. And if you actually go and read that paper, yes, a lot of technicality, etc., but it talks about something that is very common across the board. No matter what you do, no matter which domain that you actually work in, attention is actually all you need. And the concept of go quickly try, iterate, learn, do it again, do it again, do it again, without actually losing track of what, but keep iterating on the how, is, I think, a very common theme between supply chain, logistics, marketing, finance, probably even. Like, one can argue that this is a common thread, and I think that is something that has helped me in my role at Amazon.
That's awesome. Yeah, really, really interesting background and perspective, I think. So let's talk quickly about your current role. Like, what does customer engagement mean for Amazon at Amazon scale?
I get asked this question also within the company a lot. So to be very honest, its definition keeps changing every time I get asked this question. It's something that I think we also keep iterating every time, almost every quarter.
With attention, I hope.
Yeah, I guess, yes, you can say that. I think what we would like to do is, Amazon is a very customer-centric company. Essentially, our motto is to become the most customer-centric company. Customer obsession is ingrained in everything that we do at Amazon. And therefore, my team within our organization essentially stays as an advocate of the customer. And what I mean by that is we have millions of customers in EU, and not all of them are at the constant or the same stage as, let's say, our most engaged customers. Customers that think of Amazon whenever they need an item in their household, or customers who visit our app, our store, our website, our MWeb platform almost on a daily basis. We still have customers where we haven't been able to explain what Amazon convenience means to them, what Amazon speed means to them, what pricing and selection that Amazon brings to the table, or how it actually can change and transform their lives. So my team, and essentially my whole charter, is to make sure that our customers actually understand this, so that we can move them to a more engaged state. So essentially that's what customer engagement is. a bit lengthy answer, but I guess this should do for another quarter or so.
All right. Great. Then let's move on. Let's talk about the future. That's kind of the theme of the podcast. So I really love this quote. It's actually from quite a while ago, from December 2003. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with William Gibson? He's a sci-fi author.
Actually, no. This is the first time I hear of him.
I'm going to ship you my favorite novel. Actually, it's by William Gibson, Neuromancer.
I hope by Amazon.
By Amazon, of course. Yeah.
Of course. Thanks.
Yes, we actually we're going to ship a copy to all of our podcast guests. So and you included. So anyway, William Gibson, very kind of visionary guy, in my opinion, and he was talking with the Economist magazine back in December 2003, and he came up with this quote: "The future is already here; it's just not evenly distributed." What do you think about that quote? Like, what does that kind of conjure up for you?
I guess depending on how optimistic you are, it can be a warning, and also it can be something that is actually really motivating. I think the future is here, like in app tech, in marketing tech. I think it's we can argue that we see that the future is already here. We see a lot of AI developments in many domains across the board. We see almost like a new updates, new launches. Essentially, it's almost impossible to keep up with the speed of development, what future brings. So in that sense, I think future is already here. But and I agree with the sentiment that it's not evenly distributed, because I think the access to those technologies, or actually building the mental clarity as to how we are going to use these technologies, I think they are not there yet. Or they are maybe limited to a select few. And it's irrespective of the scale of the company, irrespective of the domain that you actually work in. I think we collectively, as business people, professionals, leaders, we have a long way to go to actually understand and arrive at an even distribution. And I think one good concept is democratization of these possibilities, this technology. For example, even today, when I talk to even people at Amazon, or let's say with other business partners, my friends, over coffee chats, I hear, for example, marketers are still trying to stitch like work files between data pipelines, or they are either chasing their customer, their leaders for, I don't know, like for approvals to launch campaigns, for example. Like these things, I think, are not yet democratized, like are not yet improved. I think future holds like great opportunities in those spaces that will make individuals' lives easier. I think companies will be able to do much bigger things, expand their footprint and much more easily. It's just that it's going to take some time. I think this is, what Mr. Gibson refers to as a not evenly distributed future.
Yeah, great answer. Yeah, I think it's, from my perspective, I think the sort of the shifts that happen, like sometimes shifts happen very quickly, but often I think when you're kind of maybe in a certain domain where you see these things coming like kind of down the pipeline, and you always feel like, okay, it's already here. But then you talk with people who are maybe not so focused on that area, and it's like, it actually takes a long while for like, yeah, for technological shifts, or often cultural shifts to kind of, yeah, to spread out and really become like, you know, democratized, I think, to your point.
I think like right now, because we are in the middle of everything, for example, all of us are working in app space where the advancements, technology are progressing so fast, actually. Sometimes we lose the context, we lose the relativity, essentially, versus the rest of the areas of our lives. And I think maybe in a few years' time, we will all step back and say, like, look back and figure out, oh, how far we've actually come. Like things, we will not believe the things that we were actually doing maybe these days, like 2 years from now. I think future is already here. It's just like we haven't realized that it's going to take some time.
I think the last time that I really felt like this was right at the start of my career. My first job out of university, I studied computer science, and I joined Nokia. They wanted somebody to help them make games. Back then, I didn't have a mobile phone. It was like 1999 when I joined. I was making embedded games on handsets like the Nokia 3310, just the indestructible one that lasted for like 2 weeks on a single battery charge. And like I walked into this R&D facility that they just built in the UK, and I was like, wow, I felt like walking into the future. I didn't even own a mobile phone back then, but like by the time I like left and joined an independent game development company 2 years later, everybody had a mobile phone. That was one of the quickest even distributions that I saw, was just like the speed which mobile transformed the planet.
I think a very similar thing is happening with AI, with large language models. Like right now, not a single person like that I talk to go, oh, I don't know actually what AI is, or hey, I don't actually use, I don't know, ChatGPT or one of the LLMs, one of the models as an app on their phone. I think it has brought a lot of convenience, which I believe actually is an important element of growth. I think future also holds a lot of growth through convenience, and I think it's taken some time for everybody to understand or kind of interpret that fact.
So I guess that's a good segue to, what is a trend or shift that you're seeing in the industry? I mean, like AI being, I guess, a meta trend that we're all seeing, but like if there's sort of anything maybe more specific that you're tackling directly at Amazon in terms of customer engagement?
Definitely. I think, needless to say, AI is at the heart, is at the core of all of our discussions. And frankly, like many other organizations, we haven't cracked as to how to integrate AI applications into our day-to-day life. So like we have great processes that have been already automated. Like they are essentially running so fast that the rest of the organization is just chasing behind, try to catch up with it. I think that's a fact. In terms of new trends, I think, needless to say, I see a lot of development, and in a very near future, I think there will be industry level shifting opportunities in content testing. I think this is the first area that I predict the AI is going to almost fully automate processes in what we do in growth space, maybe app growth, on-site campaigns, and like campaigns, creative campaigns, performance marketing, like this creative content testing, generating content automatically, generating CTAs, copy generation, and running those tests to optimize those campaigns on ad networks. I think the individual products that can actually do that is quite near at scale.
Yeah, I think so too. I heard actually there's some companies already getting close to producing like 1 million ad creatives per month. Like these are like Chinese games companies, but I think it'll be pretty common at some point pretty soon.
I wouldn't be surprised, but like I said, I think creative is just one component of this. But when you think about the end-to-end process, going back to actually the supply chain reference. Just doing the sea freight will not actually solve the problem. You still need to custom clear it. You still need to move it with a truck to a warehouse, then do the final mile delivery for a product to be placed on a shelf. I think that bit is still going to take some time, at least to be adopted at a very large scale. But I think, needless to say, this is the first area that I personally see and that's going to be impacted with these new shifts.
Mm-hmm. I stole this next section shamelessly from Wired magazine, but I want to ask you, for sort of three predictions, or observations. What's wired? What's tired? and what's expired. So, in your work and in your industry, what you're seeing, what's something that's hot and new and exciting? What's tired? What's pretty much over already? Maybe it used to work well. It's not really cutting the mustard anymore. And what's expired? Like what's just, like last year's news?
Okay. Let's start with, I think, what's tired. And this is around how we organize our teams to deliver on behalf of the customers. I think a little bit working in silos, like product teams, marketing teams, engineering teams, working as different verticals, I don't think this works anymore. Like with the development of AI, with the improvement on information flows, now we need to bring all these teams together because the coordination task to keep all of these teams coherent, connected, and again, stay focused, like with a laser focused attention to a specific customer problem, I think is becoming more and more difficult. And I think what's fired is to move to like a smaller teams, very agile, very small teams with single-threaded ownership to deliver on one specific customer problem. I think that is quite a bit of a wired and good trend. This is what I've seen work.
Did you just say coordination tax?
Yes, correct.
I love that term. So you're seeing an increasing coordination tax when you have siloed teams?
Yes. I think especially like in bigger organizations, probably this is a bit more conspicuous, a bit more visible. But even in small like scale-ups or startups, I think when you think about your own experience, how many times that you had to set up, let's set up another team to align between teams, what is the priority? Let's set up another meeting to understand what is the customer problem that we are solving. After 40 minutes of a meeting, you realize you don't even know why you are actually added to that meeting. So all of these things are very high coordination tasks. I don't think organizations have the currency, have the resources to spend on this anymore. And that's why there's going to be an evident change. Like if you don't change, you will be left behind, basically. This is what I think is going to happen. Or if it hasn't happened already, you're already behind. That's what I personally think.
Okay. So silos and high levels of coordination tax, ideally tired. Okay, what's expired?
I think maybe this is also a little bit connected to the organizational structures, but recently we had a discussion with some other friends working in other organizations outside Amazon. And I think one thing that we've all concluded that is getting expired is leaders being team managers, directors, VPs, owners of the company, CEOs, etc. I think their role is kind of shifting towards let's say, more of a mentorship, less of a actually deciding on what the priority is, telling people what to do. I think this part is getting a bit expired. I think there will be a lot of teams, especially in technology space, where, I don't know, like one manager will have 100 direct reports, maybe 200 direct reports. So this layered approach of reporting lines, I think it's about to expire very soon. Especially in technology world. I don't know about like more traditional companies, but I foresee that this is going to happen.
So hierarchical structure, kind of compressing, top-down directorial management expired.
Yes, I reckon these are a little bit more, let's say, unique observations or predictions. If we were to talk about maybe a little bit more app space to keep our audience a little bit more engaged, I think what I see as a beautiful trend is I see more and more developers actually embedding AI-powered features into the apps that they develop. And for example, like review summaries is a very good example that provides a lot of convenience actually to customers. It has been a very big customer pain point using LLMs to give customers a very concise key details about a product review, for example. Another one is again using machine learning models to prevent fraud in payment systems, very relevant in app space as well. A lot of companies are building much better models, much more scaled models. And I think these are the things that I've seen work. I'm very excited as a technology enthusiast to see more of this. Also an app user. Like there's a lot of convenience that you see. Like when you compare your, let's say a purchase experience on any app versus the purchase experience today, like I really love the relative convenience. Like it's much easier to complete a transaction today. And this is all thanks to the underlying technology that has been developed in the recent years. And I think it's beautiful.
That's true. Mobile commerce was one of these things that was coming for a long time. But yeah, it's definitely here now.
Well, I think it's here to stay.
It's evenly distributed at this point.
Yes, I think we can say that.
Great. What do you think is like the biggest challenge facing like growth or marketing teams today? In this kind of brave new digital world.
I think it's not creativity, it's not budgets and financial, although these may be the things that first come to mind. I personally think it's actually latency.
Latency?
Like latency in the sense that speed of making decisions and turning those decisions into execution. And I think this is a very big blocker still for people to iterate fast, like go and learn, understand what the customer needs and ship products faster. For example, these, again, maybe an example from these big AI companies, one of the things that I think puts them ahead or puts them under the spotlight is that you see they ship updates almost every other week. So they, like, the only difference is that they actually solve the latency problem. They don't care if their product is actually perfect. They just ship it without actually asking, get the customer feedback, and iterate. And I think this mindset is an architectural problem, underlying architectural problem within the organizations, as well as a human psychology problem. And as with all problems that involves humans, it's not very easy to fix. So I don't personally expect this to change. And if you ask me what is the biggest problem, I think human-induced latency is the biggest blocker today, I think, facing growth themes. Let's dig into that. Like, so a follow-up question on that thread. What's a task that you think will be fully automated now that's currently done by humans, and that, you know, if it's being able to be done by an AI agent or, you know, some kind of automated process would reduce the latency significantly in at least one area? I think, like we talked about content generation and content testing and performance marketing, end-to-end automation of performance marketing. That's definitely one area where I see that we move into a hands-off the wheel with human-in-the-loop approach. I would still call it semi-automated. I don't think we will ever let like AI or any other system do whatever they want for things that are customer-facing. However, I personally am very actually excited about a technology that I don't believe that exists today. With the development of AI, I think one thing that will be made possible very soon is to be able to do A/B testing without any customer. So essentially creating individual, unique millions of customers that will mimic the exact actual human behavior on ad networks, on on-site experiments, on like whatever you want, whatever product, whatever customer-facing elements that you want to test, that you are either blocked by, let's say, experiment budgets, or let's say you want to test 10 different ideas and your testing roadmap today takes 10 weeks, 12 weeks. I think this is about to change. And when this changes, the opportunities are actually endless. Maybe to elaborate on this a little bit more, in my supply chain days, one of the most beautiful things is that you deal with physical worlds. And physical worlds can be simulated because they don't actually include humans. So using, I think it's Latin, ceteris paribus, that means holding all other variables constant in Latin. It's often used in economy or econometrics, where you hold one variable constant and you continuously simulate, and you can actually simulate multiple parallel universes to answer so many what-if questions. Mm-hmm. Today, growth teams, I think, have a lot of what-if questions. We are very creative individuals. Everybody has many, like several hypotheses to test. It's just that we don't have the tools or the ability to test all of them at once. And I think with the development of AI, all these models and their abilities actually are getting more and more advanced. I think there will be a solution to this. And that may actually help to distribute the future more evenly.
That's a fascinating kind of, what if, I guess, right? You're talking about simulated audiences and massive scale, massive parallelization of testing to validate hypotheses without having to put things into the market. Yeah. I guess the follow-up question there is then, do humans have free will, or are they ultimately deterministic?
I like to romantically believe that we still have some free will left.
I mean, it's the age-old question, right? But
I guess so. Yes. I don't know. Maybe our audience may disagree, but
actually, this is a great opportunity. We thank you for reminding me. We've got a live audience here. Quick show of hands. Do humans have free will? Yes.
Whew, very optimistic audience, Andy.
It's about 50%, maybe something like this. Okay, and I'm assuming the other 50% are no, but maybe there's some don't knows. Who's a no? Who thinks that humans are ultimately deterministic and hence infinitely simulatable?
Way to go.
There we go. We got a couple.
Way to go.
All right. There's fewer hands though, so there's definitely some who are on the fence. All right, so we're almost at time. We've got a few minutes left. I'd love to just do a couple of quick fire questions.
Okay.
Okay. What is an inevitable change that's coming, in your opinion?
Oof. I'm so tempted to say retirement, but it's so long way off. I think an inevitable change that is coming is that some professions will cease to exist very soon. And I think this is an inevitable change, whether we like it or not. But the good news is this has happened before, when steam engines were invented, when cell phones were invented, when printers were invented. So this has happened before, and I think we are at the tipping point of another revolution. And I think if you believe in all of these growth projections, like the world GDP reaching, I don't know, like or adding an additional $45 trillion by, let's say, 2030, thanks to AI and all these new technology developments. This may also mean that so many new professions actually will arise. So I think net, there will still be a growth. So I hope to believe in humanity's ability to continually grow and provide a better quality of life. But inevitably, things will have to change. Change is a constant.
The only constant is change, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been saying that since 500 BC, so it's clearly a truth. All right, okay. Last like big question: if you had unlimited freedom or budget in your current role, at, customer engagement at Amazon, what would you change? With no limits on what you could change.
Oof, that's a great question. I think the change that, if I had a magic wand, the change that I would implement will be in the lines of, again, killing the silos or completely demolishing the silos. One of the things that I believe it's not entirely optimized, and that stands true for Amazon, but as well as for many other organizations. Marketing teams, growth teams are still organized by verticals, which I think should change. Like, I have a search team that delivers X, Y, Z. I have a creators growth team that delivers X, Y, Z. I have a mobile growth team that optimizes for something else, which doesn't actually prioritize the customer. What I would do, I would completely reshape this and start from the customer and build the teams and teams charter to deliver on the customer outcome that I want to deliver, rather than optimizing specifically for every single vertical. I think that's what I would change if I had the power. And at Amazon, this is a very difficult thing to do, granted.
All right, well, maybe we can get Jeff Bezos to listen to the podcast. We just anecdotally, we kind of came to that same conclusion at Feature about a year and a half ago, and we got rid of our siloed service teams and created customer-centric pods for exactly the same rationale. Yeah. Great. Okay, so I want to wrap up, and also I want to leave a couple of minutes for audience questions in case we have some. We've got a fantastic guest here, so please don't be shy with the questions. But just quickly before we do that, is there a book or resource that you would recommend? I mean, you already recommended the Google paper there.
Well, I think maybe a research paper may not be a very fun read, but an equally not very fun read is actually from 2,500 years ago. So it's Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I was introduced to the book very late in my life, but this is one of my go-to books to reflect on. It's almost like a reflective tool that I go to. It's not a book that you can just pick up and go through end to end and finish it in over like a couple of days or weeks. But I think it's very fascinating to see a leader from thousands of years ago put down thoughts that are still relevant today, that actually provokes very interesting thoughts.
I didn't catch the author. Sorry, you said Meditations?
It's Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, it was a Roman emperor. So it's one of the most famous ones. I think more fun or more recent or more maybe accessible are some leaders that are available on LinkedIn. They often share their thoughts. Jan, I think LeCun, he's the VP at Meta. He's a chief research scientist at Meta. I really love his perspective, like one of the fans. Whenever, I think, along with a few other leaders, he may be the only individual that I had the LinkedIn notifications on. So whenever he posts something, I get it. Another one is actually the CTO of Amazon, Werner Vogels. So he is a very visionary leader, and I think if you ever visit his personal blog, it's actually called All Things Distributed.
Oh, nice.
Quite relevant. He talks about like very interesting stuff that when you read, you may go, wait, what? If you're looking for something like this, I think Werner's blog is great. And maybe lately, another former Amazonian, Matt Wood, he was the VP of AI at Amazon. He left and joined PwC very recently. He has a weekly newsletter that he publishes on LinkedIn that I also find very fascinating to get new, like fresh thoughts on technology, on business, on growth, career growth, personal growth. I think these are a few things that I could wholeheartedly recommend.
Awesome. We'll put all of these in the show notes when we publish the the episode. Yeah, thanks. And if people want to get in touch with you, how's the best way to reach you?
Definitely LinkedIn. I guess you can find me on LinkedIn. I would be so tempted to say I'm so active, etc., but I must admit I'm a bit appalled by the recent flood of AI-generated non-genuine content. So I don't actually spend as much time, and I'm not very, I'm very selective as to what I read. But I think the best way to professionally stay connected is LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn, and if you send me a connection request, I will gladly accept it.
Awesome. Ekim, I want to say thank you so much for helping us soft launch the Brave New Digital World podcast today. As always, I've really enjoyed our conversation, and please give him a huge round of applause.
Thank you very much.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts and/or Spotify. That really helps to boost the show's visibility, and I'd really appreciate it. If you don't want to miss out on future episodes yourself, you can subscribe to Brave New Digital World in your podcast player. Brave New Digital World is a production by Feature. We're a mobile growth consultancy trusted by some of the world's leading brands as a growth partner that can help boost retention, revenue, App Store ranking, and much more. You can find us at feature.com. That's PHITURE.com. Stay brave.